Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And if you recognize our guest, you should. We have Gabby back on the podcast. It's for the second time. We last had her on, I think it was in March of last year. I was looking through just to make sure. And yeah, she's on here to give us an update on what she's been up to. And it just got done competing at a show. And yeah, multiple things to talk about. But again, Gabby, thank you so much for coming back on.
Thank you so much for the invitation again. I'm so grateful to be here and share with you and with everybody what have been happening and how is everything going with the shows and bodybuilding and everything. So I'm so excited. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, let's just dive right into it. What has this last year been like for you?
Yeah, well, this year I only did one show that was Tampa in about like 1 month, I think, something like that. Because I had many changes in my personal life this year. I'm living here in California. I moved from Mexico to here, and it was really like um, very big, big change because life is very different here. I love life here. I love people here, and everything is really amazing for me. Bodybuilding is much better, the same. So I was adapting myself and also my daughter to life here in the first months of the year, and I was not sure if I would compete, but finally I start. You know, when you start to just putting the diet on and then you see the results and then you just continue the journey. And yeah, I could do Tampa. I like the shape that I showed, but I recognize that I have some weaknesses still that I need to fix.
What are the gym situations like as opposed from Mexico to California? Is it the gym culture a little bit different?
Yeah, of course. That's very exciting for me to notice the difference between the cultures. For example, in Mexico, we used to talk a lot and to like having fun a lot in the gyms more than training, probably. Yeah. So you need to be really like a really athlete or fitness very enthusiastic person to really be focused on their workout. And plus, well, everybody knows that Latin American people they don't like women with a lot of muscle, so they are very curious when they see someone like me or other girl with um, something that is not common. So they are very curious to watch. So they watch a lot, and then and here is very different. Here, most of people is really training at the level that they have is okay, but they like to train more. And gyms, for example, on Friday night, Mexico, nobody is in the gym. Nobody's in the gym. It's more of most of the gyms close early on Friday night because nobody comes. Everybody's in the parties, drinking, whatever. And here, even on Friday night, there are people that are really training. So the culture is very different. And then here, I'm so happy because people, women, men, at any ages, they ask me how I can get this shape, and they admire the discipline, and they are like more involved in what is bodybuilding or just what takes to get this kind of shape. Something different in Mexico.
What would you say is one area of your physique that you've improved on the most since we last had you on a year ago?
Then I think I increased my shape, my size. hmm Um, I try to put more size in my legs too, like from last year. Also, last year for Tampa, I was training a lot, like doing much cardio, training twice a day. So it was a lot for my body. So I was like little at the end for the show. And this time, also because I didn't have a lot of time to train now because of my work and everything, I trained less and I did less cardio. And it was a good result because I could keep more my size and show the same a very good condition at the same time. So I think it was good. I was very um, happy with my shape this year.
I was gonna say, I messaged her saying like you look so much bigger than last year. Like you seemed like you put on a lot more size too, and I think that really comes down to it. And just the idea of moving to a different country too, and still keeping on prep. How did you do with the just mentally still staying focused, even though there was a lot of change happening in your life?
Was this year have been one of the most challenges years in all my life, because of this big move. Fortunately, it's like a miracle from the universe, from God, that I found people that I am working with, that they are therapists, but they are very spiritual and they are very um, expert in the this work of healing people and helping people to deep trauma. And also, well, it's like a team of therapists, so all of them help me with my fears and with my personal growth, and to be like relaxed, or just to overcome all the fear that I was feeling when I moved, like in a different country that you don't know nobody. And well, it was very hard, but I'm really grateful with God and with these people, because thanks to them I am here, and thanks to that mindset that I could get from them, I could do the show and still competing, even with all of these changes.
Well, and I think America's well known too for having huge proportions when it comes to the food. Did you struggle dealing with that at all too? Just realizing how much bigger the proportions of food are here.
Yeah, well, I like the proportions when I am in off season, because yeah, everything is the plate, is big. So I don't have any problem with it. I like that. Um, and at the beginning, when you move to some place and everything is new, the food is new. So I wanted to try everything. Yeah, no, all the food here. So I put some pounds over my weight, but was okay. At the end, that helped me because I never stopped training. So, but it's okay. I think each culture has the very delicious food, so we need to like enjoy everything, and it's very good to know and to have different ideas about what is food in different places.
What was your favorite of the new foods that you tried?
My new, I think, um probably these big steaks
Oh, yeah.
that with some dressing, or in prepping in a special ways,
Yeah.
and the sweet potato fries.
Oh, yep.
I love that. The big, for example, a big burger with a big patty. I love that. And we don't used to have that kind of very often in Mexico. Like we have the junk food, like the popular brands, but not a real thing like that.
Yeah. You gotta try the waffle fries too if you ever have a chance too. Those are really good too as well. But yeah, those sweet potato fries are, oh yeah, you're getting me drooling right now. We're only 10 minutes into this podcast, so I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna last, going on to that. But other than just the all the other stuff that changed, and like you mentioned, all the physical stuff that changed in your prep though too. Did you change things up at all with your posing? Did you change things up at all with anything else in your prep?
Well, yes, my prep was a little different. For the posing, I hired Brandon. So he's a very, very good coach for everything, but for the posing, he's very good because he wanted me to posing very often and to um, perform each pose in a very, very good way. So I think my posing this year was much better than the last year. And also, well, the diet was very similar, very similar. And some supplements that I didn't used to take, um, now I try it and it really works good. So yeah, I for example, another thing that was very different is I did less cardio. So because sometimes I am overtrain myself or like, oh no, I need more and I need more, and he helped me to tell, no, you must slow down a little bit and don't believe that you are so bad or that you don't look good just because you are not doing so much cardio. So I did less cardio, and I'm really appreciate that knowledge from him. And yeah, those little details are uh, can do a big difference.
How do you deal with, maybe not doing as much work as you've done before? Because knowing a lot of bodybuilders I talk to, it's very hard for them to wrap that around and really adjust to the fact that they might not be training as much, because there's always that mindset of you got to be training a lot, you got to be putting a lot of work in. And when a coach is telling you that you don't need to train as much, how did you deal with that mentally at first? And did it get easier as the year went on to just realize that, like, hey, I don't need to be training maybe as much as I did before as long as I'm seeing the results?
It's not easy, it's not easy, especially I'm going to say something. Mexico, I don't know, probably Latin America in general, we have the mindset that we need to work hard, always work hard for whatever you want. So that's the mindset. Even my first coach 20 years ago, he was really hard with all the guys that he coached. And we always used to train more and more and hard and again. And so imagine 20 years with that mindset, and now here I have learned that is not exactly train hard, it's just train smart. That is something different. So it's not easy to, because you want to go, and you always want more, and you are like anxious or nervous or things like that. And uh, but yeah, you want to breathe very deep and just trust the person that is looking at you from another view, because you can sometimes, when you are inside the problem or inside the situation, you cannot be objective with yourself, but you need to trust people that is looking at you from outside, and they can look at you in a better understanding.
Yeah, getting a new set of eyes is something that I think a lot of competitors especially need to experience every once in a while, because sometimes, yeah, they just have the same coaches, they have the same everything. And did you get a new coach, or the new coach that you got for this? How did you get a hold of him? How did you get in contact with him?
Well, last year, Brandon helped me too with the, but just for the peak week for Tampa, and then we after Tampa last year we start to work on my off season, and then the pre contest. Yeah, this year. So well, we have contact by text, by video calls. He's not far from me, but the time, work, everything. And but this next year probably I could join him to for the workouts and to really fix some muscles that the judges told me in the feedback.
What was the feedback necessary? Like, what did they say you needed to work on most?
Yeah, they told me I need to put more size on my legs, on my quads, because it seems like my upper body becomes bigger than my lower body. And that was good and not good for me to hear. It's good because, okay, I know now what I'm have to work on, and it's good because now I say I always have had the idea that my upper body was little, because my legs were bigger most of the time, and then now I am the opposite. So I was very focused probably in my upper body, trying to grow my shoulders and my back, for example, and now is are the legs. So I'm grateful and I accept that, because they are making me look what I need to improve. So that's my goal, to improve my legs now. So that's exciting.
Isn't it just kind of funny how that happens, though? How that one body part that, or that one area that you really want to improve on, you improve on it too much, and then it just becomes that opposite, where it's a balancing act in this sport, and I find that so tricky too, because yeah, as much as you might want to improve on one general area, then you got to forget that you can't be neglecting other ones. It's a constant balancing act, which is something that I find is, so impressive, especially about the sport. But how has your daughter been reacting, like, to the culture change as well? How has she been getting on with it?
Well, at the beginning, in Mexico, we all the time have English classes since the kindergarten. But it's not the same that a person that speaks Spanish is teaching you English, right? Because they speak slowly and they have probably a different pronunciation. So
Just have her try to listen to me talk really fast one time, and we'll see if she can even understand anything that I'm saying.
yeah, well, as I told you, but when you contact me by Instagram, now I can understand more. Even if you talk fast in comparison with the last year that we had the interview, and but well, she is so smart, she's amazing. So in the first months of the school here, she was really frustrated. I think that is the correct word, because she didn't understand very well or the whole idea in the school. But they have help, because here something that I love too is a multicultural place. So he was taking classes with Russian people, kids, with Korean kids, with Chinese kids. So all these kids that doesn't or don't speak their languages neither, they receive help from English classes, with English classes. So at the end of the cycle, the scholar cycle, I received an email from the teachers, and they told me that my daughter doesn't need any more help with English, because she can, or they consider that she can speak very well now. So that was awesome for me. And now she's much better. She is in middle school, and she loves to connect with people and make friends, and well, a new like new stage in the life.
What are some of the reactions that she gets here when people might eventually either meet you, or she might just be like, "Oh, here's a photo of my mom, by the way. This is what my mom looks like." What some of the reactions that she might get from that?
Well, when we were in Mexico, and we went to the cinema or any other place outside, I always wear like a hoodie or something, and I told her, because some I think, I mean, all my life I have had like the stare of people, right? But I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable with it. So I was always like that in Mexico. And I told her because everybody is looking at me, and I, don't, it's okay, but not. I would like to don't um, get that attention or that curiosity. And then here, she I think she is not so like she likes that, but at the same time, she is like, oh, my mother is different. She's different to the others, right? So I always tell her, it's good to not be like the average.
Yeah.
So get something different for yourself and something special, even when everybody we are special in something themselves.
Absolutely. The world would be totally boring if, everyone was exactly the same. So it's always nice to have that stuff out there. And just to give everyone a little hindsight too, I mean, I took 3 years of Spanish in middle school and they took us down to a market where there was a lot of Spanish speakers, and I thought I knew a little bit of it, and then when you finally hear them speaking it in like a normal pace, like you said, because like the person I was talking to was an English person who spoke English and then taught Spanish, so they would go really, really slow, and then to have everyone like speak it really fast at once, you're like, okay, I can't even understand a word that anyone is saying right here. So it's a lot harder when you're practicing it in the classroom to then apply it to real life. But it's just, yeah, and it is amazing how when you move to a place where so many people speak the same language then too, where how much you are able to pick up on just so quickly just from having to use it a lot. So there is that, as well. But just down to the sport in general, there's just so much that's been happening these last few years, and especially with the new divisions and everything. But in your whole experience that you've had in this sport, like you said, you've been training like really hard for 20 years. What have been some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the sport of bodybuilding from when you first got started to where it's at right now?
Well, there have been many changes, as you said. Like for example, starting with more divisions for women and for men. There are much more divisions now, like 5 or 6, I think, by men and for women. That in comparison with 20 years ago, that we were only men and women bodybuilders, and that's it. Which is very good because now much other people can be practicing this sport and picking whatever they want, or the division that is better for their genetics or whatever. And another big change is, well, the women's bodybuilding was back at the Olympia, like 4 years ago, probably, or something like that. So that was an awesome change, and that was like a light of hope for many women bodybuilders like me, because I was doing physique before, because I didn't see like a future in women's bodybuilding, but then everything changed. And now, the biggest change this year, I think, is the introduction of the Masters Olympia again. So that's awesome. I really would like to do this show in the future, probably in 2024 or 25, because you look, those people, those athletes are amazing, and is a really inspiration to see that age is just a number when you really have the dedication and the discipline, and or all the mindset, don't to simply don't give up. I think all people, all the athletes are winners when they really put all the effort. But unfortunately, well, the judges must give a place, right? So I think the Masters Olympia is a very good, and the Master division in all the shows are really a big change and a big opportunity for everybody.
How are you currently dealing with the post-show blues this year around, knowing that like you've been through such a different prep and everything? Has it been easier for you than most other preps, or where are you at right now in the post-show blues?
I think this prep was much easier for me because I train less. You know, when you came from a culture or from anything that you do in a very hard way, and suddenly they say, "Oh no, you don't need to do that so much." It's easier. So it was easier in terms of workout. The diet for me is not a challenge because I have many years doing this kind of um, uh, diets. So I really enjoy to stay on the diet. So that's not hard for me to do. And probably the hardest part was financially because the coin in Mexico is very different to the coin here, and I was starting my work. Um, so yeah, these the prices are very different here. So, and you know, bodybuilding is very expensive anyways here in China or in everywhere. So that was the big difference for me. But the prep, in terms of uh, diet and rest and um, training, was much easier for me. Yeah.
And just dealing with, all the changes that you've been through as well, and just dealing with the nutrition, and we talked, about everything, but when it also comes to the change that we talked about in the sport, I asked you this last time and I'll ask you it again. If you could change one thing about the sport of bodybuilding and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed?
Uh, Probably I will change the prices for women, specifically for bodybuilding women. I will put more money for women bodybuilding. um, by probably I will do a marketing campaign, but very professional campaign, like telling to all the society what is behind a woman that is a bodybuilder, what is the discipline, what is the challenges, that we have family probably, that we have work, that we have everything that regular women have, but also we have the capability to handle a hard diet, hard trainings, awake very early in the morning, and probably go to bed late, and we can do it. So that could be that an inspiration for other people, and don't not only see like, oh, they look like a man, or they look whatever people think. Just look, and not the physique, look what uh, takes to get that physique. So in that way, probably we could get more sponsorship, and then more money for the prices, or at least more information for people. That would be awesome, I think.
Yeah, there's so much in this sport that goes under valued and underappreciated when it comes to that stuff, because a lot of people just assume, oh, they just must go on stage and they just must work out all the time, and it's like, no, that's like 1% of it. There's so much more little things in this lifestyle that just entails. And well, I like to talk about a little bit about time difference. Was there any time difference in your move up here, and how did you deal with that when it comes to your sleep or anything?
Not really, because we have only from the place that I was living in Mexico, and now I have just 1 hour difference, so it's not much. It's very similar. Even the weather is very similar. So, and I used to visit here very often before, so I knew already the time, and so yeah, I didn't have any problem with it.
Yeah, because my brother, I'm in Minnesota, and he moved to California, and that's a 2 hour time difference, and he struggled with it for only a couple of days, and then he's fine with it. But then there's people from like New York, if they move, then that's a 3 hour difference, and that's when it starts to get a little iffy there on that whole accord. But when it comes to a year from today, where would you like to be at in your bodybuilding? Where would you like to be at in just your overall life? When we have you back on in a year, where would you like to be at?
Well, my main goal for the next year is to grow the business that I'm working with. and we are a team of professionals in health that we help people in issues. In my case, we help with nutrition and workout. So my main goal is to grow that business, and yeah, my other goal is continue growing my legs and giving to my body a full like symmetry and aesthetic. Like when you see a physique, you look not only the size and the condition, but the symmetry, and like is very beautiful to the view. To when you look at that physique, that's why some other girls win a show or place it much better, because even if they are not very conditioned, but they look like uh, very symmetrical, I think. So that's what I want to get, that class, that kind of physique, and well, continue being a good mother for my daughter, and that is my main goal.
So one thing that I found fascinating from a lot of guests that I've talked to is that when it comes to the look that they prefer themselves, a lot of people don't prefer that show look as their favorite look. A lot of people might like maybe like a 4 weeks out look or a 4 weeks post show look. Where do you fall on that? And at what point of your journey do you think that you like your look the most?
Yeah, I like, yeah, like probably 5 weeks out, 4 weeks out. Yeah, because you look good, uh, but your face is still good. It's- For example, in my case, my face is like super skinny, and the diet face when I compete. So yeah, but 4 weeks out, you just look good, but also you feel good. You don't feel like just so tired and exhausted. So you look good and you feel good because you are very motivated and very happy with what you are looking in the mirror, and you can train with enough energy still, and you can do other activities with enough energy and very happy. So I think that's the perfect time.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, which is what shocking for me at first because I thought like, oh, that show look must just be the look that everyone loves. It's like no, because they're so dieted down and they're tired that only a few people have said that. But also being that the sport, I mean, Instagram has influenced a lot. It's also helped it a lot, but I would be one of those people where I would struggle with the fact that I could look up who I was competing against in a show, and then you can obviously look at their profile and see what they look like, and use it, either as motivation or just be like, oh my god, they look so amazing. I don't know how I can compete. Have you ever struggled with that, or have you always just been able to just zone out and not focus on what other people look like heading up to a show?
Well, I was talking with a friend the other day. He's a doctor, and I was telling this kind of topic, like I need this, I need that, I still don't have the level, blah blah blah. And he told me, well, all the athletes think the same, and you, especially now with the social media, that everybody posts their shapes, and you have access to see how other athletes are looking, um, is not easy to avoid the comparisons, or just more than a comparison is like, oh, I need more of this, I need more of that. Because at the end, when you will be in the show, it's a comparison show, right? So it's a so it's I struggle with that, I have to say, but at the same time, I have been working on my mindset about that, and now I feel much better, much comfortable with my body, and I know what I need to do, but I love my body. I absolutely love what I have, what I show, and I don't have any complaints.
What have you done mindset wise to help you appreciate your body more and not be judging yourself so constantly? Because especially with the guests that I've talked to, they are constantly ripping themselves apart. They're constantly judging themselves. And I've always just wanted to just be able to find ways that they could not do that as much.
Yeah, the therapy that I have been working is very deep, and it's based on the philosophy of the Buddha, the Zen, and what in terms more real terms, I appreciate if I see all my background and I realize how many years I have been competing and all my evolution. When I see my pictures through all the time and I see my body now healthy still, I see my body that is still responding to the stimulus every day. I really appreciate that. So I think we should learn to appreciate that we are healthy, that we have all all the body complete, that all functioning or the functions are good, and in order to and be grateful with it. So that's why I love my body, because I see my body is amazing. How much effort I have put on it, how much pressure I have put on it, and it is still here for me, uh, getting better and healthy. So I'm so grateful for it.
What is your favorite exercise to do and least favorite exercise to do?
My favorite could be shoulders or legs, especially my glutes. I love that. And the less I like to do, I probably is my calves. So I have to fix that, and that's why I this my weakness.
Yep. Same here. My calves are absolutely ridiculous. It's gotta be, and that's one of those body parts too that you can train into oblivion and it won't catch up. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. But a question that I've recently just been coming up with is, if there was a talent portion to a bodybuilding show, what would your talent be? And this could be anything. Like if they said just go out and perform a talent, what is one thing that you're talented at that you'd be comfortable with sharing on the stage?
And probably the posing, the free posing routine, because I really would like to really be focused one day in just perform real routine with that match with the music very well and show a real routine very beautiful like other bodybuilders have done. I would like to do that because I prep my routine. I mean, I prep my routine, but not with that so specific or focused effort. So that's something that makes me feel uncomfortable because I really love this sport and I would like to show much better what is it, the beautiful and the masterpiece that could body have been.
You mentioned this a little bit before, but do you ever look back on photos before you competed and then just look at photos now and just how do you mentally deal with just the amount of change that's happened in your life and the amount of change that you've made in your physique as well? Because just I just can't imagine looking back and just realizing how much change and how much you've been able to accomplish in this time span.
Yeah, well, when I started competing, I was really young. I was a teenager. So I have pictures when I was a kid, like 13, 12. I was really skinny. My legs were like my two fingers. So, yeah, and then I see the first times that I compete, and yeah, I really feel proud of myself now. And probably in that time, like 20 years ago, I didn't. I didn't feel enough, that I was enough. But now that I look back, I recognize, and I'm very, very happy that I could do all of these changes. Um, and now that I see my evolution as an athlete and as a woman, um, I feel really happy with what I have accomplished now, and that's why I'm very grateful with my body, and I love my body.
Absolutely. And is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up?
A shot again, please.
Is there anyone that you'd like to give a mention to before we wrap things up, or anyone that you'd like to shout out, recognize or appreciate?
Oh yeah, of course. I would like to be to thank, since the bottom of my heart, to all the team that I am working with, that have been giving me the opportunity to be with them and to live here. Um, they are therapists as and physicians, so I'm so grateful with them because of not only the opportunity but all the love that they show me, and all the knowledge that they have, and that they receive me with all the arms very open, even when they don't know me very well. So they are very special people for me.
And that is awesome. And I mean, Gabby, I cannot thank you enough for coming back on and giving us an update on what you've been up to. I mean, I look forward to seeing what you do in the future and seeing all the competitions. And yeah, again, I just really appreciate having you on and talking to us again. It was a delight to talk to you again.
Thank you so much, my friend. Always my pleasure hear to about you, and talk to you. And thank you so much for your passions with my speaking and with my language.
It's not that bad, trust me. I've talked to some guests where they know probably a tenth of the language that you do, and it's no big deal. It's honestly. Again, everyone, this is coming from a guy that knows no other language other than English. Well, I can speak German a little bit, but this is coming from a guy that knows no other language really, or can speak fluent another language. So for me to judge another person who's speaking a different language than what they were born with is the dumbest thing ever. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. You are so beautiful
Yeah.
person, and I am at your service at the time that I can contribute with your podcast. And thank you so much for the support to the sport, and to especially this division. I really appreciate the work and all that you do.
Absolutely. Maybe I'll learn Spanish. We can do a podcast in Spanish. That would be kind of cool.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
I don't know. So I do, guys, before we wrap up. So when you're talking to someone like me, what does our accent sound like in Spanish, really? Because I know what someone who's from Mexico, their accent sounds like in English, but when you're talking to a quote unquote gringo, and what does our accent sound? What does our accent sound like in Spanish, really?
Oh, they are so cute, so cute, and so I don't know. I love the accent
Yeah.
when American people try to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
It is like so sophisticated. It sounds like with the accent is like, because in Spanish we pronounce, the pronunciation is like you see the word writing is the same. So it's like hard, the pronunciation, but you have like a style, like a specific style. So yeah, it sounds great. It sounds great, really. I love when I hear people, American people speaking Spanish.
The funny thing is that I had a roommate in college who was from Spain. He was an international student, and he spoke Spanish completely different than, people from South America speak Spanish. So I'm like, wait, that's a whole different way to speak. And it's so funny because they have the typical Spain thing where they're like, oh, those people don't speak Spanish right. I speak Spanish right. They don't speak the language. And it's like, so yeah, it's just funny how all different types of people speak. And then I know someone from Cuba, and they speak Spanish, maybe a little bit different than, so it's just different. It's so fascinating how, everything is different at all times. But
I understand. Yeah. Sometimes the people in Spain have words that not even me I understand what they are talking about. But yeah, it's a little different, but at the end is Spanish.
Well, I was gonna say, I just had someone from Quebec on earlier this week, and they speak French, but their French is different than people from France. So it's again, I'm learning a lot on this podcast, at least about, languages at least. So there's that. But before this last whole 10 hours, because believe me, I could talk to Gabby about languages for 10 hours. Everyone, go and check her out on her
Wow.
Instagram page. Buyer beware, you will get inspired to get off that couch and stop eating all those Twinkies. But again, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.